Yo guys, it's Tharo. You already know that today I am bringing you week 4 of the PPL, or the Pokemon Premier League if you will. And this week we are taking on Troy, the Trojan Horsey, and the Wycombee Wanderers. Now, before we get into the team breakdown, I do just want to say that from now on, I'm just going to put a clickable timestamp in the description for if you want to skip the team breakdown instead of putting an annotation on the screen, just because I'm really forgettable and because it's just kind of annoying having that there. I don't really know, just reasons. So I do have plenty of things to talk about with this team, his team and my team as well, so I'm not expecting this to be super short at all. And this is probably going to be another post-com battle just because I plan on running a lot of calcs during the battle because it's going to matter a lot. So the thing, let's just get right into it. The thing with Troy's team versus everybody else's team, in the first 3 weeks going into the battle, I had a pretty solid idea of either I have a good chance of winning or I have a good chance of losing, and it's different from week to week. This week, I don't really feel either. I don't really feel like I have a good chance of winning, but I don't feel like his team is like so much better than mine either. I feel like we're very, very evenly matched, and I think that's going to turn out to be, this is going to turn out to be a really, really great battle in my opinion. I'm going to predict that right off the bat, because I have plenty of Pokemon to take hits from him, and he has plenty of Pokemon to take hits from me. So it's really just going to come down to who makes the better predictions, who makes the better switches, and who just comes more prepared. So I did make a team, and of course, you know, my team is over here, and Troy's team is over there. So, of course, if you want to know what we're working with, you can see that. But let's break down Troy's team. So, every team that I have gone against so far in this league has usually had like one or two big threats that are scary. Offensive threats, I should specify. And the big offensive threat for me this week is Mega Gardevoir, for sure. I don't have a Steel type. I do have a Poison type, but it's not necessarily great on the special defense side. That being Drapion. It has some pretty good physical defense, and it is immune to things like Psychic and Psyshock, but it's still not going to take things like Hyper Voice very well. So Mega Gardevoir is a huge threat. Volcarona is a pretty big threat, and Rotom even, I'm pretty sure it can do a good amount of damage. I'm not as worried about it, but it can definitely pose a threat. Some other things to look out for are Mew. Of course, Mew can be, there's so many things that you can do with Mew. However, I have a pretty good idea of what I think he's going to do with Mew. The past 2 weeks, he's brought Mew to both battles, and they have both, each time it's been a physical attacker, so I imagine that he might do that again. And because I know last week he used Ice Punch against Jack's Salamence, and he may bring Ice Punch again because I do have a Gliscor, which is 4 times weak to Ice. Regardless if I have better physical defense or not, Ice Punch is still going to do a lot of damage, and it's not something that I want to stay in on. So there's that, and then just some other things. Nothing else is a huge threat. I can't really say that I can one-shot Slurpuff, so if he gets the chance to set up, that could be really bad for me. So I'm hoping that that doesn't happen. But regardless, I don't know if he's going to bring it. If I had to guess, I would say that his team is just going to be like Mew, Suicune, Volcarona, Skarmory, Mega Gardevoir, and Rotom. Honestly, just the first 6. He may bring Xatu instead of Rotom. I don't entirely know. I really don't think Hitmontop is coming. I'm not sure if Weezing comes in, he's going to be getting rid of, he's going to have something else that's more valuable to his team off the team, and I don't know, I guess he could bring, you know, a lot of different things. But why don't we move on to what we're going to bring to deal with this. So the first Pokemon that I'm bringing that deals with most of his team is Arcanine. And this week, Arcanine is max HP, max attack. What is this? Alright, max HP, max attack, 4 EVs and special defense. What is this name of the nature? I think it's a Brave Nature. Is that right? Yes, it's a Brave Nature. and it has Flamethrower, Flare Blitz, Extreme Speed, and Morning Sun with the Intimidate ability. What this allows me to do is, I can take hits from basically everything. Physical and special, I can take a decent amount of hits as long as they're not super effective. I can wall Mew, and I can deal with Mew 1v1. Flare Blitz does more to him than anything that Mew can do to me, including things like Earthquake. Flare Blitz, basically, it does more than half to Mega Gardevoir. I do believe I can take at least one hit from Mega Gardevoir and things like that. Now, and then I'm bringing Extreme Speed for priority. The past couple weeks, I have surrendered priority in favor of other things, and I'm not going to make that mistake this week. So I am bringing priority. I do have Extreme Speed, and then Morning Sun because I like my recovery. Flamethrower is there more for Skarmory than anything. I imagine if he's going to bring between Skarmory and Hitmontop, I think he's going to bring Skarmory because it can take more hits from a lot of my other things, more so than Hitmontop, and even so, Hitmontop would be more brought as like a Rapid Spinner, and I have a Gourgeist, so I don't know if he's really going to bring the Rapid Spinner. I feel like having a Defogger would be better for him. So Flamethrower is there for the Skarmory. I don't even think Flamethrower one-shots, but it comes really close. Actually, I think it has a chance, but of course, sturdy, so I'm not really worried about that, as well as, you know, being able to do a lot of damage without having to worry about recoil damage. And of course, Flamethrower, Flare Blitz will do a lot to erode a Mo, and Flare Blitz just hits a lot of things on his team hard. So Arcanine's going to be a big deal in this match, and I do think that he's going to be very important. Another Pokemon that I think is going to be really important is going to be Drapion. Alright, let's show off this Drapion. This Drapion, I've really gone back and forth on how I wanted to bring him. I didn't know if I wanted to bring it bulky. I didn't know if I wanted to bring it fast. I've settled on bringing max attack, max speed, 4 HP EVs, or 4 EVs and HP with a Jolly Nature, Sniper ability, holding a Muscle Band with Toxic Spikes, Night Slash, Cross Poison, and Knockoff. So, I don't know how I feel about this Drapion. Basically, I want Toxic Spikes on his side of the field. If I can get 2 layers of Toxic Spikes, I can start, you know, toxicking things that can really wear me down. Things like Mega Gardevoir, things like Mew, things like Suicune. Of course, Suicune can rest up, but, I mean, I have things that can take out Suicune within, like, 2 hits before it'll wake up. And so I'm not really worried about, you know, like a Rest Talk or a Crocoon or whatever you call it. Not really worried about that. So I really do want Toxic Spikes on the ground. However, Drapion is going to be more than useful for just Toxic Spikes. Knockoff Night Slash combination is going to do a lot to Mew. Knockoff is a good move to have in general, and a Night Slash crit is going to hit a lot of things on his team. And Cross Poison is, I'm pretty sure, a one-hit KO to a Mega Gardevoir. Not entirely sure, but I believe it is. And I am going to bring Max Speed Jolly. That way I do outspeed if he brings anything else other than Max Speed Timid Mega Gardevoir. And I think, you know, he might, I don't know, if he brings like bulky Mega Gardevoir, that'll be so much better for me, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But this is one reason, if I can outspeed and just take him out with a Cross Poison, that's a huge threat gone. And of course, I can also just scare him out and then go for things like Knockoff, which are just great. And with Sniper and possibly getting crits with things like Night Slash, that just, it can punch holes in his team. I went with Muscle Band because I didn't really want to go for Life Orb because recoil, I don't really have any recovery, and I do want to make sure that I get the Toxic Spikes off. My initial plan for this team was to lead off with Drapion and to just get up 2 layers of Toxic Spikes right off the bat. But if I see Skarmory on his team, he may lead off with Skarmory, because Skarmory can do, you know, like Stealth Rock, Spikes, things like that. And if he does that, then like there's really not a whole lot of point, because I'm not, this is a little bit of a spoiler alert, but I'm not bringing a Rapid Spinner to my team this week. So I need to, so if I see Skarmory, I'm just going to lead off with Arcanine. If I don't see Skarmory on the team, then I will totally lead off with Drapion. And I thought about, you know, like a Focus Sash to make sure I get the 2 up. And, you know, I thought of Black Sludge for recovery if I wanted to run it a little more bulky. But I'm not going to. This is what I decided with, and I really do hope this works. I don't really know. But either way. Speaking of Hitmontop, if he would decide to bring Hitmontop instead of Skarmory for like rapid spin purposes, I am going to bring Gourgeist. So Gourgeist is another one that I kind of went back and forth on how I wanted to use it this week, but I decided to bring it in kind of like a bulky support role. So it is going to be max HP, max speed, timid nature, 4 EVs in defense, and it's going to hold the Light Clay with the Frisk ability, and have Destiny Bond, Shadow Sneak, Leech Seed, and Light Screen. So basically, this thing is here to spin block. So if he has Hitmontop and I have Toxic Spikes on his side of the field, he cannot rapid spin them away. With max HP, it doesn't even matter if Hitmontop has things like Ice Punch. It's really not going to do a whole lot to me, and I'm really not that worried. Leech Seed is for some decent recovery, and Light Screen is just to kind of cover up a little bit of my special defense weakness on my entire team. Arcanine can take special hits decently. I did bring a special defender, which we'll get to next. And I do have things that can kind of take some special hits, but at the end of the day, Mega Gardevoir still wrecks my team, no matter how much special defense investment I put in any of my team. So if I can get Light Screen up earlier in the match rather than later, that would be amazing for me. I think with this, I can live almost any hit from a Mega Gardevoir. And of course, because I am max speed timid, if he's not also bringing max speed timid Mega Gardevoir, then my Light Screen will outspeed. Also, I can just go for a Destiny Bond. Destiny Bond outspeeds a lot of his team, or I'm not Destiny Bond, but like Gourgeist outspeeds a lot of his team because it is max speed timid. And so if I can get off a quick Destiny Bond, then that'll be good for me. Kind of a last ditch effort, and it'll just be good to kind of, I don't know, maybe surprise him. I don't know how common Destiny Bond is on Gourgeist. Also, while we're talking about Gourgeist, I do want to clarify to everybody that I am only able to use Gourgeist small. We put it to a vote as to whether I was allowed to use multiple forms of Gourgeist or just one, and majority voted that I can only use one, which I'm perfectly fine with. I only paid like $2 million for this thing, and I decided that I want Gourgeist small because it has base like 99 speed while still having base 122 defense, and it's just overall I think it's gonna help me a good bit. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way. And this is, yeah, I want the Light Clay up so I can have Light Screen up for long periods of time, because I don't know if I'm gonna have the opportunity to get more than one Light Screen up. So yeah, that is that. So about the Pokemon that I'm bringing that is going to take special hits. This is going to be either a decision that I get completely destroyed for. I feel like people are either going to hate this. It's basically going to be like, if it fails, people are going to hate me for it. And if it succeeds, people are going to love me for it, if that makes sense. Because this week, I am bringing Gliscor, Toxic Orb, Poison Heal, Max HP, Max Special Defense, 4 EVs in attack, and a Careful Nature. So, this is a specially defensive Gliscor. I'm working with base 75 special defense, and like I said, with a lot of special defense investment in some of my other Pokemon, it still didn't matter. Quagsire still gets bought by like Giga Drain from Volcarona. Doesn't matter. Electivire, even with an Assault Vest, it can kind of take some hits, but it can't really hit back. It's not going to hit a Mega Gardevoir very well. It doesn't have anything super effective to hit a Volcarona, and things like that. And it's just not really that good. It's the same thing with an Assault Vest on Drapion. Actually, I didn't want to put Assault Vest on Drapion because I want to use Toxic Spikes. So I was kind of really running out of options. And I think, let's see, I think specially defensive Shaymin may have been okay. I mean, Bug Buzz, Quiver Dance, Bug Buzzes. Basically, Gliscor is the only one that I can bring where they won't have a special, like a super effective move, unless they bring Hidden Power Ice. So if he has like Hidden Power Ice Volcarona, then I could be in some trouble. But of course, if I can get up a Light Screen and then also use Gliscor as like a special wall, it's going to be amazing. Now, Gliscor has Stealth Rock just for some additional, things. Poison Jab is a 2-hit KO on Mega Gardevoir. Protect because I'm not running any speed investments, I'm not going to outspeed. I also don't want to use Roost in case I'm 1v1ing a Volcarona, and if I would put a lot of speed or whatever and I would Roost, or maybe he's running like a slow Volcarona, if I run Roost, I get rid of my Flying type that turn, he can go for a Giga Drain and bop. So that's why I'm running Protect. That is my only way of recovering. Protect, Toxic Orb, and Stone Edge can one-shot a Volcarona. I was going to run Rock Slide because I personally am a fan of running Rock Slide over Stone Edge, but Stone Edge one-shots and Rock Slide doesn't. So it really just came down to that. And yeah. So I think Glasgow can really pull through this match. I think it's going to be the biggest surprise factor. I don't think he's going to be expecting me to switch in things like Glasgow on a Mega Gardevoir or on a Volcarona, and I think it's going to really catch him off guard, which I'm really hoping for. I do like going for a bit of surprise factor in my games, as you guys should know. So, hoping that this will catch him off guard, and I really hope that this thing will pull through. This thing can still get KO'd by Hyper Voice from a Mega Gardevoir. So, yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen, and we will just see. Now, we're just going to move on to the next Pokemon, which is Mega Pincer. I really want Mega Pincer to put in some work. It has been used poorly this year. I have been a bad coach, I guess, for this Pincer. And I just really want it to put in some work. Otherwise, you know, I spent 22 million, you know, on this thing. It's taking up a lot of room on my team, and if it's not putting in the work, then it's kind of being a burden to my team. So I really think that this thing can put in work, and I'm going to try my best to, you know, use it effectively this week. So I am bringing Jolly Mega Pincer, max HP, I'm sorry, not max HP, max attack, max speed, Jolly Nature, 4 EVs in HP, with Swords Dance Return, Quick Attack, Knockoff. Basically, after a Swords Dance Return can hit a lot of his team, it can 2-hit KO everything. Everything that it doesn't 1-hit KO, it can 2-hit KO. Because it's Jolly, it's going to outspeed anything that's not Scarfed. And yeah, Quick Attack. That way, I have priority. Look at that. That's another move with priority. So I have Extreme Speed, Shadow Sneak, and Quick Attack. So if that's not enough priority for you guys, I don't know what is. So I am bringing that. And then Knockoff is just really good. It hits Mew a little bit better than Return does, I think. As well as Knockoff is just a good move to have if he's going to switch in anything, to be fair. But it was between that and X-Scissor, and Knockoff just hits more things than X-Scissor. And Earthquake I didn't bring because it doesn't really... He has a really good team against Earthquake. Like, Earthquake literally hits, like, nothing super effectively. Because Rotom-Mow has Levitate, Weezing has Levitate, and nothing else gets damaged super effectively by Earthquake. So, that's pretty impressive. Actually, that's a pretty impressive team to not have a single Pokemon weak to Earthquake. That's pretty awesome. So Mega Pincer is just there. It's not for anything in specific. It's just to have power. Now, the not the big threat, but the big defensive threat on his team, I guess, would be Suicune. I usually have a big problem taking down Suicunes in my past. Suicunes have walled me pretty well, but I am hoping that this is not going to be the case this match because I am bringing Shaymin. Shaymin is going to be an offensive Shaymin. It's going to be max HP, max special attack, Modest Nature for EVs in Special Defense, with a Life Orb, Natural Cure, and Seed Flare, Psychic, Aromatherapy, and Leech Seed. So, the idea behind this Shaymin is basically a Life Orb Seed Flare is going to almost take out a Suicune. It still doesn't one-shot. I don't even think Specs Seed Flare takes out a Suicune. At least not a Max Special Defense one. So if you would run Max Special Defense, Life Orb Seed Flare is going to more than half. I'm going to outspeed it. Yeah, I'm going to outspeed it because Suicune isn't super fast and Shaymin has a base speed of 100. So I should outspeed, be able to, you know, whatever. I should be able to scare him out as well. I can also set up Leech Seeds against anything that switches in, because, you know, the only grass resistant he has, or I'm sorry, the only Leech Seed resistant he has is Rotom-Mow. So it's whatever. I have Psychic on the Shaymin. Why do I have Psychic on the Shaymin? Just in case he brings Weezing. I wanted something for the Weezing. I couldn't come not prepared for Weezing, even though I'm pretty sure he's not going to bring it. I do have Psychic on the Shaymin. So that is a thing. I have Aromatherapy because if he does bring the Weezing, it could have Will-O-Wisp. Rotom-Mow could be run defensively with Will-O-Wisp. I think it gets Will-O-Wisp, honestly. I'm not sure, but I feel like it does because, you know, like Rotom Wash and Rotom Heat do. And, there's another one. I think Mew can have Will-O-Wisp. There's a lot of things can have Will-O-Wisp, and I kind of have a physically attacking Pincer and a physically attacking Drapion. So I want to be able to heal their burns, because, you know, a burned Mega Pincer is not an effective Mega Pincer. So I want to be able to have Aromatherapy to just kind of clear that off, and then Leech Seed is just good for recovery purposes. And of course I do have Natural Cure, so that way if Shaymin gets status, I mean, actually I don't think Shaymin can run any other ability, to be fair, but I just love Natural Cure, it's so good. And so that is actually my team. This is going to be the first week that Kyurem does not make an appearance, and yeah. So, and Gorugeist is getting its debut. And that, I think, wraps up my team. This has been the longest team breakdown I've had so far. Do apologize for that. I did just feel like there was a lot of things I needed to explain, because I'm bringing a lot of things that I'm using in a different way than most people are used to. So, yeah, let's hope this all works out, and let's get into the battle. Alright guys, now we're into the battle, and oh my goodness, this was quite a battle. There's plenty to get into, and yeah, this one's going to be post-com again. I think probably I'll just keep post-comming because I feel like I focus on the battle just a little bit better. But either way, let's get into this battle against Troy, which is probably, in my opinion, the best battle of the PPL that I've had in the PPL thus far. I think it's the closest battle that I've had. And yeah, guys, oh, you're not going to want to miss this. So, I already showed you my team. Troy brought basically everything that I thought he was going to bring. You know, he brought basically the 6 most powerful members of his team, and he brought 4 special attackers, as well as Mew and Skarmory, which Mew could technically be special, but I wasn't expecting it, and as it turns out, it wasn't. But we'll have to get to Mew a little bit later, because there are some things with that kind of happened that may have changed the outcome of this battle. But you know what, we'll get to that when we get to that. Let's just start off because, oh my. So basically, as it stands, I wasn't sure what I wanted to lead off with, but I did decide to lead off with my Arcanine because I saw the Skarmory, thought he was going to start setting up Stealth Rock spikes, and I don't have a Rapid Spinner on my team that I brought. I mean, I have Starmie, but I didn't bring Starmie to this battle, so I don't have a Rapid Spinner for this battle. So I knew that was going to be a problem. However, he actually leads off with Rotom-Mow, and I was like, you know what? This still isn't even a bad matchup. So I go for an attacking move. I thought he was going to go for a Volt Switch, and I was going to, you know, try and see if maybe he's, like, Scarfed, or maybe he's whatever. But maybe by that, I imagine he's not Scarfed, because he would think that I would outspeed. And I went straight for a Flare Blitz, just in case, you know, why not? It hits a lot of things on his team. It's basically everything except for the Suicune, and it actually did a decent amount of damage to the Suicune, seeing as that was a not very effective hit on a Suicune. So I was a little kind of puzzled by that, but I was like, alright, maybe it's more specially defensive, or I don't know, maybe it just has some weird EV investments, whatever. Let's just go into Shaymin, which is of course my Suicune counter. He Scalds, and that does a lot of damage because it's a crit. I was like, are you kidding me? But he also has Life Orb, and I was like, oh, this is offensive Suicune. And I was rejoicing in my head because I knew that he wasn't going to be doing all, like, Rest Crocune shenanigans and all that good stuff. So I was going to Leech Seed on him, but of course he switched into Rotom-Mow. And I was so happy when I saw offensive Suicune. I really was, because I knew Life Orb was going to eventually, you know, be bad for him, whatever. I switch into Gliscor because my Gliscor is specially defensive and I can take any hits. But he used Will-O-Wisp and I have a burned Gliscor, and I was like, no, no, no. I need Gliscor to not be burned. This cannot be happening right now, because Gliscor is what I have to take out things like Mega Gardevoir, what I have to take out things like Volcarona and whatever. But I do still take this time to set up Stealth Rocks, and then at this point I was like, crap, he's probably just going to defog him away. Whatever, let's switch into our Skarmory counter, which is of course Arcanine. So, I mean, pretty done deal there. Every time I see his Skarmory, I'm going to switch into Arcanine. It's the thing that can hit him the most. And of course, I get the Intimidate, so if he goes for the attack, it's whatever. But he sets up Spikes instead. And I was okay with that. I was like, hey, I still have Stealth Rocks up on his side. It's not a bad idea. And now if he defogs at all, he's going to be getting rid of his own hazards as well. So I started to think that maybe he doesn't have it, which would be amazing. I go for the Flamethrower, do about as much damage as I expected to. He has Sturdy regardless, it wouldn't have mattered. And he used Roar, which was kind of interesting because most people run Whirlwind. I mean, they both do the same thing. I don't know, I don't usually see Roar on a Skarmory. So, good on you, mate, I guess. And he roars me into Gliscor, which sucks. I would have loved for him to roar me out into something that could have taken out the Skarmory, but it wasn't, and I had to switch out because there's no point in trying to attack, and there was nothing else I could do because I'm still burned. So I just decided to go right back into Arcanine, thinking that he's probably just going to, I don't know, set up another layer of spikes, which, I mean, I can't really stop him from doing. But he actually goes for Roost, which is a really good play for him and really annoying for me, because I'm not even sure at this point if a Flamethrower would take it out. It would be very, very close, and I think it has a chance to take it out. And I think, oh no, after Leftovers, I think that's a less likely of a chance. No, I don't think that has a chance to take it out. Either way, I still went for the Flamethrower because I was like, it's still a good chance. Maybe he'll try and roar me out again or something. Probably not, but whatever. And I do go for the Flamethrower. Now, here's the thing. I almost switched into Mega Pincer here, which would have been amazing, but I was kind of fearing that this Mew might have Will-O-Wisp because of how little damage that was. I figured it was more defensive than offensive, and I should have went to Pincer because I knew a knockoff was coming, but I was like, whatever. And I just stand with Arcanine. I see if he's bulky on the physical side as well or not. And he is not nearly as bulky on the physical side as the special side. The reason for this is because Troy accidentally put an Assault Vest on him. And Assault Vest was the only attacking move because he had like Taunt, Stealth Rocks, and Roost, I think. So this was supposed to be like a bulky, kind of annoying Mew with Knockoff as its only move. And because of that, I could have easily switched into Mega Pincer and set up at least one Swords Dance. Even if he didn't have the Assault Vest, I'd still probably get up one Swords Dance because I outspeed. To be able to set up a Swords Dance, and then I could start wrecking a little bit of house, because he can't knock off my Mega Stone, he doesn't have Will-O-Wisp. It would have been amazing, but I didn't. Either way, I went for the Flare Blitz. Arcanine picks up a kill against Mew, which is amazing. But now he switches into Suicune, which is going to get damage to Stealth Rocks, and just as a mixture of Stealth Rock damage and like Life Orb damage, this Suicune is pretty much doing a good job of taking itself out, which I am perfectly fine with. I go right back into my Suicune counter again, which is Shaymin. I am taking Spikes damage, not a big deal. The Skull isn't going to do much, of course, unless it's a crit again, which it is. He gets another crit, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Did he just like?" Ugh. And I go for Aromatherapy because, like I said, the Gliscor it needs to be able to heal itself up. It cannot be burned. I don't want the attack drop. I need that thing to do damage, so I do that. And I was like, I figure an Ice Beam might take me out, but it's worth it. Shaymin, because this isn't a defensive Suicune, I knew I had other ways to take it out. So it wasn't a big deal. Speaking of how to take it out, or no, I do take this time to go into Gourgeist. Maybe I'd scare him out, maybe whatever. But I do believe I take this time to go for the Light Screen, which I do, because as soon as the Suicune, goes down, something else is going to come in, and it can start putting in a lot of work. So I knew that Light Screen was going to be important. And then I could have easily went for a Destiny Bond here, but I figured that wasn't my best play. The Suicune was going to take itself out soon enough, so I decided to take this time to go into Pincer, because I'm behind a Light Screen. There's not a whole lot he can do to me. Plus I knew that he was going to not use a Scald this turn, so I wasn't risking a Scald burn, but he gets another crit. That's 3 attacks that he's done, 3 crits that he's done, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Now, I had a gut feeling that he was going to go for Extreme Speed, but you know what, I wasn't ballsy enough to switch back into Gourgeist, and I decided to try and use Quick Attack, and it didn't matter. Extreme Speed out-prioritizes, and he uses Extreme Speed Suicune, which is not something that most people do, so Mega Pincer just dies, which sucks. It absolutely sucks. But I just go into Drapion, and I think, yeah, I take this time to go into Toxic Spikes, knowing that after any attack, I've seen his full moveset, after any attack, he's going to take himself out due to Life Orb damage. So, Drapion could have gotten a kill here if I wanted to, but I figured that Toxic Spikes was a little bit more important to me, especially because at this point, his Skarmory still has not shown any signs of using Defog. So, I figured, it can't hurt to put up some Toxic Spikes. I do take this time to switch back into Arcanine, which at this point is very predictable. I don't really have anything else to deal with the Skarmory, as far as offensive. The Skarmory's not going to do a whole lot to me, but, it is what it is. He, of course, predicts that and roars me right into something else, and it goes right back into the Drapion. At this point, I know that he's basically going to just keep roaring me, and gathering, chip damage on all of my Pokemon, so I basically call his bluff and I challenge him. I was like, you know what? I'm staying in with a Pokemon until you force me out. that is what's going to happen. I let him set up spikes. It's not a problem. He was basically going to try and play mind games with me, and it was going to try and, you know, set up 3 layers of spikes and roar me, you know, all around. And I was like, you know what? If I don't switch out, you can't get that chip damage. You need to force me to switch out. And of course, if Drapion dies, it's not even a big deal. I get a clean switch into Arcanine, and then, you know, I can heal myself up, I can attack. There's so many different things. So he has to force me out if he wants anything to happen. And that was what I was going with. So I go into Gliscor, which isn't going to take any spikes damage, and I do get Toxic this time, which is amazing. I go for a Protect, I think just to get a couple of hits, or I'm sorry, just to get some health back up. And, you know, I thought maybe it would protect against, like, roaring me out or whatever. But he gets up the 3rd layer of spikes, and again, I'm like, that's fine. It's not the best situation for me, but I was like, I was still sticking with, I am not switching out. He has to force me out. Not that Skarmory would have been able to do any damage to Gliscor anyway. We were going to outwall each other. And I was like, there's no point me switching out, otherwise I'm just going to kill myself, and I do not want to do that. So as I said, I get the chance to get into Arcanine, and I just heal myself up again, because this Arcanine is kind of helpful. Like, I kind of need it around if I want to win. He roars me right back out, because what else is he going to do? And I know that eventually he's going to basically run out of those moves. I can heal up with Arcanine forever. I can stay in with Gliscor forever, and there's nothing he can do. I was kind of fishing for a crit here, still doesn't get it. I've never gotten a Night/crit in either of Drapion's appearances, which does suck. And the Skarmory, I believe, takes me out. Despite having 2 Intimidates on it, that's still going to take out Drapion, because I only had 25, you know, HP left, and I didn't have any defense investments. I get the clean switch right back into Arcanine, and this is my chance to take him out if he does not switch out. So I do believe that I go for a Flamethrower. I might actually go for a Flare Blitz. I do go for a Flare Blitz in case, because I thought he was going to switch out, and it just hit more of his team harder. Like, Flare Blitz would have done a lot of damage to Gardevoir, would have basically taken out Rotom. It's like anything that he wanted to switch in, it was going to do a lot of damage. But Arcanine gets the kill and takes out the Skarmory. That's 2 kills for Arcanine this match, which is amazing. Now, I do try and take this time. I was hoping that I could live 1 and get up a Morning Sun, but I couldn't, and I did take that risk knowing that I didn't need Arcanine as much anymore, because Arcanine has done its job. It's taken on the Skarmory, and it has taken out the Skarmory, and that's fine. So now he goes into Bay, and here we get to the amazing end of the battle. I'm down to Gourgeist and Gliscor now, and he has Mega Gardevoir, Volcarona, and Rotom. And if you remember in the team breakdown, I brought a Pokemon to counter all 3 of those, that being specially defensive Gliscor. Just to be safe, I did 2 things. Well, I did 1 thing, is I got into Gourgeist and I put up a light screen because it's what I didn't need it, but I thought it would help ensure me the victory if I did get one up. Because it hasn't Mega Evolved, I outspeed regardless of whether it's Max Speed Timid or not, because the speed doesn't take, you know, effect until afterwards. He uses Hyper Voice and takes me out, and that is fine. That gives my Gliscor the ability, or the opportunity, to come in and basically wall his team. I also have 2 layers of Toxic Spikes up, which means that he's going to be taking Toxic damage, and I am perfectly fine with that. He goes for Calm Mind, probably thinking that he can just sweep, you know, probably not expecting me to have any sort of move to hit it. But guess what? You can catch this Poison Jab, and it doesn't matter. He would have had to get up so many Calm Minds to be able to take me out, and just because of Poison Jabs and Toxic damage, things like that, he gets taken out. And so he actually dies to Toxic, not to Gliscor, so the kill doesn't go to anybody there. Which is still fine as long as he's, you know, his Pokemon are dying. And at this point, I've basically won. There's nothing he can do. Unless he has, like, Specs Hidden Power Ice, I still don't even know if that would take me out because of the light screen. And that's why I did get the light screen up, just in case of any, like, I don't know, any shenanigans. But you see that Giga Drain does absolutely nothing. And now I did kind of have to rely on Stone Edge hitting, and it did hit, which is a dead Volcarona. So Gliscor gets his first actual kill. I'm not sure if he's gotten any kills in the PPL so far, but he did get his first one of this match. And then it basically comes down to, it comes down to this Gliscor versus the Rotom. And again, unless he has Hidden Power Ice, it's really not going to matter. Even if he did, I'm still sure it wouldn't take him out. This Leaf Storm does like 40 damage, like 50 damage, and he gets the special attack drop. There was absolutely nothing he could do. And so this Poison Jab is going to do that much damage, and then I'm going to be able to get off another one. There was basically nothing he could do at this point. I brought this Gliscor to take on the special hits of his special attackers, and the only one that was kind of scary was Suicune, which I already had other things to take care of. So basically the whole thing did come together, and Gliscor pulled through in the end, which is fantastic. So we get the close 1-0 against Troy. Again, there was some things there, you know, his Mew could have stalled out a little more with like things like Roost, could have taunted me, could have knocked off some other Pokemon's items if I switched in anything else, but I'm not sure. I don't know. And then he, you know, he still had his Suicune that got a crit every single attack that he got, basically. So I don't think it was a huge deal. It may have affected the turns of battle, but at the same time, I would have reacted differently at, you know, once I'd seen things like that. So, you know, it's always just different, you know, depending on, you know, how things are. So I still argue that it's not necessarily like he would have won if he, you know, had done that. I've made stupid decisions too. You know, there was the match against Ellie. My return, I had 0 happiness on my Pincer, so it did like no damage, but I still won. So I don't consider it to be an excuse. You know, if you messed up, you messed up. That's part of the team planning. But that's still an incredible game. Like I said, probably the closest match that I've ever had. I was shaking for half this battle. It was intense. So that was a good game, Troy. My goodness. Probably one of my favorite battles that I've had. And yeah, so that is going to be this week for the PPL. Next week, we are taking on Shroom Reaver and the Parasect Shaymin, which is terrifying because as I'm recording this, I do believe he's in first place. I think he's in first place, and we are not in first place. So he's a really good battler. He has a really good team. I think I have some ways to exploit it, but of course that is for next week. So if you guys did enjoy this week, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, show your support, leave your comments in the comment section with all your thoughts about the battle and my team and all of that good stuff. And I think that wraps everything up. So until the next time, guys, stay sly.